Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're going to be exploring the new map software synthesizer from GeForce. Now this is a little bit different. Of course it's a synthesizer, so we expect to have oscillators and filters and modulation and envelopes and LFOs and all that stuff, but there's a difference. It uses these concepts and design that are clearly from the West Coast of synthesis mindset. I'll say that like that. But it gives it a new twist by putting into a very kind of modular synthesizer, because you'll see that these are different modules that have a lot of flexibility. It can do stuff that we expect from a synthesizer, bass, lead, all that stuff. But this is for sound design people, I believe, because it gives you access to a different way of designing the frequency content of your sound and the way it's going to respond and work. So it's just a breath of fresh air, because it wants to distance itself from the usual subtractive, oscillator synthesizer. So let's actually dive in right away and explore it together. Let's try init patch and start from scratch. Now, the way it works, if you click on effects here, you get rid of the bottom section. All you see now is the top section, which is the synthesis section. If you add effects, what you have is the Arpeggiator and the three effects that are space, time, and color. We could imagine that we have reverb, delay, and flanging. It's not exactly that. It's weirder than that. But okay, let's start with this notion. Now, to turn them on and off, you can just activate these like this. You have your oscillator section, which is complex but fun. The mix of the sources. The filter section, which is something we don't see often, honestly, on this type of synthesizer. We have envelopes, actually A, B, C, and LFO A, B, C. So these are traditional envelope, but now you have a way to really shape the way this is going to work. So you can have these weird shape of LFOs if you want to. An envelope, well, it's an ADSR, and you have attack, decay, sustain, release at the bottom. And LFO, you can even sync it to tempo. So you see how much time it will take to do the attack, the sustain, and the release. And here, same logic, you can sync it. So it tells you that the rate of this oscillation of LFOs will be that. You can have it also follow the keyboard. So as you go up and down the keys, it can follow this. And you also have the choice of having single movement or dual. The logic is that the value you have, do you want it to that value to the middle, the center of the oscillation of the LFO, or you want it to go from that value up or down and back to it. So this is what you're going to change here if you need to. But let's keep it the way it was. You can double tap, bring it down to 0. You can double tap. So this is one way to click back to 0. Let's go to the oscillator, because that, wait. The one thing that makes it really stand out is the way the modulation works. Now, there's all of this can be modulated. There's a lot of modulation possible here. But if you want to look at this screen here, you see envelope AB, so you see the movement. If I go this here, you're going to see the movement and the value. It's kind of the CV value if you want. So you see this one going up slower. So you really see where each of them they are at one moment in time. So that's really cool. Now, if you want to see where it's going, you click on modulation here and you see all the destination possible. They're there. So there's nothing really assigned right now. If I want to have, let's say, the frequency of this one here, it says oscillator 2 frequency, and I want this to be controlled by LFOB. So when I press it, I've got that movement here. OB. Now this one is actually following the keys, which is pretty cool because you can use that as it goes by the steps. It's actually interesting. Now let's go back to the oscillator. So notice you have to notice one thing is you've got the preset here. You can load preset for just the oscillator section. Same thing with the filter section. Same thing with the effects, each of them. But this is really cool. The fact that you can go here and say, okay, factory, I want to have something that is shifting triangles. Okay. Okay, what's happening here? You have the triangular waveform here. You got a weird one. Weird because we changed the shape here. And this one has some shape mod. So there's modulation for the shape happening. And this is coming from the modulation here, this one here. So if I go... So the modulation oscillator is by default used to all the shape mod, FM. So if I bring this one up, so all that movement that we hear is actually coming from these two oscillators are in sync with the modulation here. And you can assign, you've got a little control here. You can actually click on the plus and assign it to, I don't know, this one, and then right click on it and assign the movement as you move. If you want to delete it, you click on the little hamburger and go remove all, or click on one and just remove that one. That's it. So same thing with the two. So it's a quick way to have some movement. Now you also have a noise that is pretty cool here. Let's close these two now. A different type of noisy sound, and you have a control over the speed, forward and backward. It's more obvious when you listen to stuff like pink noise, blue noise, waves. See that these are backward, these are forward. all of the kind of noises you can have with this and include that into your mix if you want to. After that, what you have is a very complex, actually, it's a very surprising filter. 5-band parametric EQ, that is filter A, and you have a standard up to a point filter for B, which can be between, it goes between modes of low pass to a notch to a high pass to a peak to a low pass again. So you really have a movement between different type. Again, you can use the modulation. And there's different orders. So 12 or 24 dB per octave. That's B. You can have it A, or you go into A and then B, or B and then into A, or in parallel, A1. It's really a parametric EQ. You can click and move what you want, and you see at bottom here you've got the frequency, you got precise control here. You can modify this and double tap and enter the value you want if you want precisely. And each of them, again, you can control them if you want. If you go back to modulation, I can say this one here, I want to use LFO B, C to control this one. So, and this, I'm going to use LFO C. LFO C is going to be like this. So it's only controlling this one right now. So all of them can move separately. So this is kind of a crazy filter where you have 5 filters in a way. You can actually have a low pass for the lowest one and a high pass for the highest one. And again, you can resonate this if you want. And of course, so this is like having 5 filters right away. It's weird. Not weird. It's like having 5 filters in one, and all of them being controlled separately. It's really powerful, really wicked. I mean, the fact that you have these modulation inside the oscillator plus the LFO and these filters, right away you get into a world that you have controls that you don't see often. You also have a noise LFO you can use. What we'll do is we'll listen to some of the sounds, because let's go back to init sound. I just want to listen to the effects so you understand what you can do. Init patch. If I go into this one here, let's just have it. Okay. You hear the noise? It comes from the dust and the press and the crisp. This is a weird way to create. I like this. The fizz. It can be pre or post. Listen to the stereo, that little noise at the back coming in. Okay, turn this one off. You add this one. So this is a tab delay. So let's say we Move them on one side, move them on the other side. So you can play with that. You got a low pass and a high pass, and you can control where it's actually cutting. So this affects only frequency between that. And if you like what you did, you can actually save it, and it's going to be your preset. Same logic with the space. Space, it's more reverb, but it's not. Get granular, size of the grain, feedback. So a weird synth to create these complex waveform. Let's try more of the sound so you get a good sound, like wave shaping. Okay, let's try this one. We have to talk about the Arpeggiator here. You have a generative Arpeggiator. It becomes something else. This is interesting also. That's it. The new map soft synth from GeForce Software. It's weird, it's fun, it's a little bit more experimental. It gives you control over stuff that you don't often see in classic subtractive synthesis. If you want to dive into synthesis, great stuff that you don't have access to normally, check it out. Map. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.